Hey, thanks for joining me for another real-time edit. Today I'm going to edit this Prairie Warbler that I just shot this morning. Was out with a couple of clients, had an amazing outing. As you can see with the lighting was just incredible. This was, I would say, within the first half hour of sunrise, ballpark. Um, and so I wish I would have composed offset that way, and I did later, but then the bird wasn't turned the right way, so um, I don't have more of this really fun bokeh over here. In one of the other shots that I shot with more space over there, it was better, so I'm just going to have to try and compose this in post. But these birds don't stay in one spot very long, so that's generally the nature of working with warblers. So anyway, I think I got enough good stuff here to work with. So let's start lightening up just a little bit. I'm going to bring the shadows up, bring the blacks back down to maintain some of that contrast. I'm just going to put a real soft radial vignette just to kind of darken around the bird slightly, and then another one across the bottom here because I really just want to pull the highlights down on these maple seeds because I don't want them blown out at all. So, and then I'll probably just do a global, bringing the highlights down to maintain some detail there, which makes it a little bit too dark and lacking contrast overall for the shot, but I'll bring that back up on the bird itself. So I think that's a good starting point in Lightroom, and I think I'll do the rest in Photoshop. So I'm going to hop over to Photoshop now. All right, here in Photoshop, first things first, I'm going to make a clone layer, and I'm going to get rid of this part of this branch. I just really don't like it back there. And in fact, well, I guess that's attached to it, so I'll leave the bottom of it there. So just get rid of that. Should be a nice easy clone. And then just try that real quick, see what happens. Not bad, but it needs a little fixing. A spot healing brush works magic sometimes, and then other times, especially when there's like smooth kind of gradient areas, it just kind of tends to fall apart there. So I just come back in with a clone tool and fix it up myself. And then any other little just weird distractions, I think I'll get rid of. This branch is just a little light back there, so I'll just kind of fade that away a little bit. And maybe this little piece, just kind of soften up the end of that. Should be good. All right, so then I'm going to add a layer mask, which I already did just now, and then just kind of clean up these areas that I screwed up by overlapping. Well, actually, I didn't screw it up. I did that on purpose because I knew I would come back and clean it up like that. This cloning right here is a little weird, so I'll just clean that up now that's masked, and there we go. All right, so there is that branch removal. That kind of cleans things up. And now I want to start messing with the image. So overall, I want the image a little bit more rich, but I don't want the bird that dark, so I kind of like, I'm going to bring the blacks down a little bit too here. I kind of like something like that for the overall image. That might be a bit heavy-handed, but once I mask the bird back out, I will see if I can fix that up. So I'm just going to get precise here and mask most of the bird out, but right along those real bright areas, I'm just going to use a different method to get more precise because those feathers have a lot of detail there. So I don't want to screw that up with my my kind of rogue brushing here. So I'm just trying to get inside the highlight area. We'll go around the feet, leave them nice and dark. There we go. And then let me come out here and do this side. Thanks for bearing with me. This is always the boring part. This is a pretty clean line around there, so let me just soften the brush up a little bit. Back to the hard edge brush so I can go around the little green bloom there, blossom or whatever it is. That should do it. Let's see what I got. Yep. So fill that with black. Oops. There we go. Okay, that's pretty clean. All right, so now I want to clean up these areas that I kind of left a little messy. So I'm just going to use a color range selection to grab that and the yellow there. There we go. That does pretty perfect with that. So let's see. Paint that out with black. Let's see how it did. Good. All right. Grabbed a little bit of this down here, so I just got to fix that up. And it went outside a little bit there, but that should be good for that edge. And then I'll do the same thing across the top here. Just grab some of that white, some of the, well, right in there and there. There we go. So I'm just looking to make a nice edge along the top. And then again, we'll just fill that in. We'll see what that looks like. Clean that up, and look how precise that is, right? Really nice there. All right, cool. So got my bird selected. I'm gonna save that. Oops. Not sure what I did there. Oh, I hit crop. All right, so now I have that saved. So here we go. See how that kind of just darkens and richens up everything, but not quite so much on the bird. It is a little heavy-handed, so I'm going to drop the opacity on that. But I do want to actually lighten up the bird, especially the bird's head, just a little bit. I'm going to keep it, you know, somewhat dark and dramatic. There we go. But I do want to make that bird stand out a little bit more, so let me paint some of that in there. Let's see if that's working. There we go, right? Now I'll adjust this curve now that I have it kind of painted in. It's a little too light. And I'll just back off some of that where I painted in. And then the last thing I definitely want to do is give a little bit more life into that eye, get some catch light there. Oops. I'm just going to enhance what was there. And then I guess that's not the last thing. The last thing is I do want to get my blacks a little bit blacker because they're kind of a little gray from the little bit of lens flare that was happening there. So just going to paint in these black areas, some black contrast on the markings, and then probably I'm just going to hit the entire outside of the branch and everything here with some of that. Just kind of richen that up. Let's see how that does. There we go. And then I realize now that I wasn't painting with the right color in here, so let me come back in and hit there. Now it's showing up. All right, just kind of darken up those markings to help kind of alleviate that lens flare, lack of contrast. There we go. Now all I see is just a real kind of light area down there. So I'm going to just darken that up with another burning layer, maybe a little bit across there, and then just take that down a little. And there we go. So from beginning to end. So not a crazy change, but brings a little bit more attention to the bird, a little bit more life to it. I really like that. Let me just save that, get it back into Lightroom, and I'll show you the difference between the entire original and the final edit. So let's go ahead and reset this. So there's straight out of camera and the finished piece. So you can see, right? Nothing like crazy dramatic here, but definitely an improvement here. And this is quite possibly one of my favorite Prairie Warbler shots. The backlight was just amazing. The perch with these glowing red maple seeds, and the bokeh was really fun. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this.